Welcome back to Abiding Trails. I'm Chastity, and this is a space for real stories about dogs, faith, and life lived outdoors, built on structure, responsibility, and purpose. Today, we're diving into something foundational, something that shapes how we see our role, not just with our dogs, but in the world around us. We're talking about Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through 28, and what it actually means to have dominion over creation. And more importantly, how that understanding changes the way we care for the animals we've been trusted with. If you've ever felt like there's a deeper reason behind the responsibility you carry, whether it's with your dogs, your work, or how you move through life, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Let me read Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 through 28. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground." This is one of the earliest commands given to humanity, and it's not just about reproduction or expansion, it's about responsibility. God placed us here as his representatives. We bear his image, and with that comes a charge to rule over creation. But here's where most people get it wrong. When you hear the word dominion, it's easy to think of control, power, the ability to do whatever you want. But that's not what this passage is teaching. The Hebrew word used here for rule or dominion is rada, and it doesn't mean harsh, reckless control. It carries the idea of a shepherd, someone who guides, protects, and cares for what's been entrusted to them. This isn't about domination, it's about stewardship. God didn't give us the earth so we could exploit it. He gave it to us so we could tend to it, care for it, manage it well, on his behalf. Think about it like this. If you were given the keys to someone else's house while they were away, you wouldn't trash the place. You'd take care of it. You'd respect it. Because it's not yours. It's been entrusted to you. That's what dominion is. It's a sacred trust. And when it comes to animals, especially the ones that we bring into our own homes and lives, that trust becomes even more personal. So, how does this connect to our dogs? Well, when you bring a dog into your life, you're not just getting a pet, you're taking on a responsibility. You're stepping into that role of steward. Your dog depends on you for food, shelter, exercise, structure, discipline, and companionship. They don't have a choice in the matter, but you do. And how you handle that responsibility says something. It says something about your character and what you value. And if you're a believer, it reflects how seriously you take the call God placed on your life to care for his creation. Proverbs 12:10 puts it plainly. The righteous care for the needs of their animals, but the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. That's a sobering verse because it draws a direct line between righteousness and how we treat the animals we're responsible for. If you're neglecting your dog, if you're not providing structure, exercise, or attention, that's not just irresponsibility. It's a failure of stewardship. But when you show up every day, when you build discipline, when you make time to be present with them, you're living out that Genesis calling. Let me make this practical. Responsible pet care isn't complicated, but it does require consistency. First, your dog needs food and water. That's baseline. But it's not just about filling a bowl. It's about providing quality nutrition and making sure they're hydrated, especially if you're spending time outside in the heat or the cold. Second, they need structure. Dogs thrive on routine. They need to know what's expected of them. Without that, anxiety builds, behavior problems start, and what could have been prevented with consistency becomes a much bigger issue. Third, exercise. And I'm not just talking about letting them in the backyard for 5 minutes. I'm talking about real intentional movement, time outside, time where they're engaged physically and mentally. Which leads me to the challenge of the week I want to leave with you today. Spend more time outside with your dog, not just a quick walk around the block. I'm talking about intentional time. Go to a trail, find a quiet spot, let them explore, let them move the way they were designed to. And while you're out there, pay attention. Notice how they respond. Notice how you feel. Because here's what I've learned when you step outside, away from screens, away from distractions, you remember what it feels like to be present, to be grounded, to be still. And your dog, well, they already knew that. They're just waiting for you to join them. So this week, make the time. It doesn't have to be hours. Even 20 to 30 minutes of focused outdoor time with your dog can shift something. It's a small act, but it's one that honors the responsibility you've been given. And it reflects the kind of stewardship Genesis 1 is calling us to do. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Abiding Trails. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Before we wrap up, I'd love for you to check out my ebook, Faithful Companions, A Guide to Loving and Caring for Your Bully Breed. You'll find the link below. Join my mailing list and let's keep growing together. And if you want to check out the gear that reflects this kind of life, faith, responsibility, and time well spent outdoors, head on over to abidingpaws.com. Until next time, stay steady, stay faithful, and keep showing up. I'll see you in the next one.